Hello, and welcome to our presentation on Catia Engineering for 3D Experience Mid-Market, Transforming Our Value Solutions. This presentation will highlight the key value propositions provided by Catia Engineering on the 3D Experience platform. Let's begin with a short video. We hope you enjoyed the video, and now let's talk about the 4 roles within Catia Engineering for Mid-Market. Here we are talking about the packages. We won't go into great detail on the packaging at this time, but we'll go into more detail later on. Based on our core industries in the mid-market, we have identified 4 profiles of users. Each user typically goes through a list of tasks every day. To simplify the user's work, we have packaged the applications to cover a broad set of activities that users need in order to accomplish the tasks they perform. This list of needed applications has been bundled into one role for each user type. With these 4 roles, we are covering about 80% of the engineering needs for the users. For example, let's review the MEHX role for the multidiscipline mechanical and shape designer. The user could start his day by checking all of the pending tasks, then gathering some information within the communities, and can then go into his personal dashboard to get more information on his work. He could start his engineering task with Catia while sharing and collaborating with the people involved in the project. At any time, he could start his design of mechanical and complex parts in his full product context with other colleagues, and then release the part when it is mature enough. We've identified 10 key value propositions that differentiate the 3D Experience mid-market Catia offerings from any competitor, and we've placed them into 2 categories. The first category is collaboration, and the second category is engineering. When effective collaboration intersects with world-class engineering, it's a winning combination that simply cannot be beat by anybody. So now we'll go into detail on these 10 key value propositions. First, we'll start with the key value propositions around collaboration within the 3D Experience platform. The 3D Experience platform can be open to anyone, even non-CAD users, to facilitate collaboration within the company and across the enterprise. Everyone is connected to a single platform sharing the same 3D reference data, so there is no replication of data required. You can open your own environment to external users such as partners and manage their access to the project and information with intuitive P&O management and strong security. What we show here is having two different people connected to the platform. One is the supplier on the left and the other is the OEM. And you can see they are accessing the same data but with a different level of security. The supplier on the left doesn't see all of the data, only the data he has the right to see. And he can work on it in parallel with the person on the right. They can collaborate instantly on the same information. Use the platform for engineering, simulation, and manufacturing, but you are by no means limited to those disciplines. 3D is an excellent communication tool which, as an example, makes the bidding phase easier in communicating with your customers. It is accessible from anywhere, even your mobile device. The next value is design and collaborate in real time, meaning people can connect to the same data at the same time. Concurrent design at the level of the product is automatically managed. The system can synchronize modifications from everyone working in parallel on the same product, managing conflicts. You don't have to replicate anything. Everybody shares the same information. One single source of truth, showing only the latest version of the project. Here you can see a good example of two people working on different aspects of the same product. So they are all working on the same data and the same product structure. You can see that both of them are doing different modifications to the same subproduct of this engine. You see the modification on the right, and they can refresh their session so the person on the left can get the modification done by the one on the right. He can see what was done and accept or reject the modification. Any modifications done by other users while you are working can be retrieved at any time. Co-design capabilities are applicable at the product level or at feature level. Now let's talk about co-review. While working on the same data, you can see the impact of the modification done by another team on your design. So for example, here we have someone working on the styling surface of the hood of the car and the other one working on the body in white. And so in parallel they are able to work. The first one has changed the styling surface and the second one is going on with the body in white design. So here he is explaining the modification done on the styling surface. The body in white is reviewing the modification on top of his data. He can visualize the impacts and accept or reject the changes. As he accepted the modification, the body in white is updated to reflect the change to the surface. So they are really working parallel on the same product, and you can see the impacts of the modification on the design. The next value is to innovate by exploring more alternatives. The user can work as he or she desires, and the system will take care of traceability of the design evolution, allowing the user to come back to any previous design status. This allows users to remain confident and simply focus on their work. They can also manage design alternatives and branching, and there is no need to check in, check out anymore. They have full flexibility on the history of their design. Manage the life cycle of your product, from design to manufacturing, through versioning. From one version, you can explore different design alternatives, which is something that is most difficult when you work in a file-based system. Here we show the lifecycle widgets that ask the user to define the current status for each of their data models. It's very easy to understand where they are in the design process, and they can also see from here the different versions and revisions of their parts. They go directly into the web interface, accessible through a web browser. This widget is a new feature starting in 16x. And finally, users can manage the design status of their data, whether that be in work, frozen, release, or obsolete, to keep or share their design with their team and the shop floor, according to company rules and security. Another example of using versions and maturity status is from the Save with Options panel. So here we are looking at some designs in 3D mockup. You can manage also the revisions, versions, and the maturity state of your products directly from the Save panel. It's accessible either in the web interface or directly from this Catia panel. One single platform and data model for all applications, all users, through multidiscipline integration. One important thing for these package roles is that you get all that you need. You can do all your design from the concept phase to the finished product with just one role. No extra applications are needed, and all of your applications share the same user interface. Retrieve efficiently whatever you need for any kind of data, whether they are 3D parts, drawings, documents, etc., and even in a huge set of project data. This is thanks to advanced search and tags filtering. The system collects for our users critical information for their project and presents this information through custom 3D dashboards, thus enabling them to make the right decisions. All types of parts, whatever the manufacturing process, can be created with these Catia packages using a specified dedicated application. This covers 3D printed, machined, sheet metal, welded, molded, cast, forged, stamped, formed, and other types of parts. The Catia for mid-market roles allow our users to work efficiently with core modeling applications and also opens the doors to advanced technologies which are available to extend your processes. For example, composites, systems, equipment such as piping and tubing, electrical, advanced surface such as Class A, machining and tooling, additive manufacturing, simulation using Simulia apps, and finally Exelead OnePart. That covers the top 5 value propositions around collaboration, and now we'll round out the top 10 values of the 3D Experience mid-market offering with 5 high-value propositions around engineering. One of the big values of the 3D Experience platform is that whether you are a provider working on a big OEM project or if your data is big, you don't have to load everything to navigate the data. You retrieve only what you need to be modified. First, users can easily retrieve their work package. This shows how users build their working session on large products. They can navigate instantly on 3D on their product without having to load heavy data. They can then apply some parameter filters or manual selection. They can build in a few clicks their working session with only the data they need, and then at any time open it for modifications. Large data handling. Thanks to the 3D Experience infrastructure, users can navigate on very large data with very good performance to understand their product, validate the steps of their project, and define their working session. This is an illustration on how users can navigate on very large data. These are large and complex products for a nuclear fusion experimental project. You have the building, all the infrastructure, plus the main reactor. See how quickly you can navigate on the 3D data down to the part level, understanding the complexity of the structure. Business Information Essentials, Information in 3D. A project is not only 3D information. With the Business Intelligence app, users can visualize all sorts of information from the database with color coding that can apply to maturity level, collaboration including lock, unlock, and owner, versioning, design status, materials, simulation, weight, clash and contacts, and more. For example, on this product, the user can check on things such as the last modification date, the reserve status such as which parts are theirs and which are not, or the weight definition and distribution. In this case, green indicates that we know the weight and red means we need to define it. Then the user can see what are the heaviest parts of their product from this color coding. There is no limit to this kind of information, as any information can be analyzed with a custom color code. In the 3D Experience platform, you do not have only 3D data, but all the information needed to make decisions with easy access. Users seldom start a project from a white page, as they typically reuse many assets from previous projects. Catia provides users with a set of powerful tools to do just that. This includes XCAD, which allows data from other CAD systems to be reused using a neutral format and/or optional connectors. Catia 3D Experience can reuse data coming from any CAD system. Here we illustrate how to create a hybrid Catia assembly. First, we found both Catia V5 and SOLIDWORKS data in the database and inserted it into the product structure. This was done without conversion. We can check at any time the origin of the data directly in 3D with easy and understandable color coding. And here we finish by inserting some data from a neutral step format. In the end, we have created a hybrid Catia 3D Experience product, inserting sub-assemblies coming from Catia V5, SOLIDWORKS, and step files, all with no conversion. Thus, you centralize the information in one single DMU, allowing users to get access at any time to the latest version of the design. This allows accurate design review and thus minimizes design errors drastically. In addition, the problem of BOM-CAD mismatch between the product structure and EBOM goes away. And finally, with a data-driven project management system, resources can be assigned to tasks in a work breakdown structure. No more surprises, no more outdated and incorrect information. Your project managers get real-time project status updates without time-consuming manual efforts. Users can also modify data coming from any CAD system. In this case, the user gets a step file containing data created outside of Catia. Thanks to natural shape, he is able to modify the part. He doesn't have the specification of the part, and he doesn't know where it came from. However, he can still modify it with direct manipulation. You can see that he is able to delete the fillets and create a new pocket on this part, and then redo the fillets again. And finally, Smart Duplicate. The next example is how a user can reuse existing assets thanks to the Smart Duplicate functionality. Here we have this existing wheel, and the user wants to duplicate some of the parts of the product but not all of them. And it's very easy to do just by selecting in 3D the ones they want to be reused, the ones they want to be deleted, and the ones they want to be duplicated. In this example, they will reuse the tire, they will duplicate the rim, and they will delete the brake disc. Being able to reuse company expertise is one of the key values of Catia. This is done with what we call knowledgeware apps. Reuse designs and methodologies captured in smart adaptive templates. The template functionality allows you to capture your in-house know-how even for complex products like this gearbox. In a first example, we use a template for the gear wheel. All the different parameters can be changed, and the resulting part is modified accordingly, so you can generate all types of gears from one template definition. In the second example, a template was then created for the whole gearbox product. All you have to do is define the main axis and the ratios for the different speeds, and the whole gearbox is created with the right geometry, such as the size of the wheels, module, number of teeth, etc. Finally, a check report is created on your product to check if you are compliant with the company standards and rules. This very complex mechanical product is instantiated in a few clicks and adapted to our new product. Here's another good example with the tooling app. We want to add some screws to fix the brake disc to the rim, but there are no holes for the screw in the rim. Some tooling information was added to the screws, defining the hole for each screw and the type of connection to be created. So when adding the brake disc assembly to the product, the holes are automatically created in the rim with the corresponding rigid connections. Create smart models using relations between the parameters of your model. Using parameters, formulas, rules, and actions on your model allows you to define simple to complex automation, helping you on your repetitive tasks and reducing drastically your design time and the risk of error. Run checks to validate your design and generate reports. The last point would be to use checks and rules to assess your design quality, as we did with the gearbox example. You can apply design checks and manufacturing checks to the model and generate a report on what is red and what is green, while also providing correction advice. For any manufacturing process, use process-oriented features to ensure feasibility early in the design phase and access to manufacturing simulation in the design context to predict part production. Ensure company standard compliance and design quality. Let's go more into the details by process. The Catia modeler allows you to design complex features such as drafts and fillets with advanced definition and stable computation. The multi-body functionality helps you to improve update performance and robustness of the model and optimize design organization for better collaboration and easy understanding. Contextual design with associativity and link management allows fast design changes and easier reuse of existing parts in a different context. Concurrent engineering, teams working on the same part. It's possible for several people to work in parallel on the same part, exchanging features and results through the collaboration platform. Once the part has been created, powerful analysis tools help you to ensure the manufacturability of your part, such as surfacic curvature analysis and wall thickness analysis with sectioning capability. Auto draft and auto fillet functions allow you to generate all of the dress-up features automatically on complex parts, gaining several hours compared to a manual method. A specialized app helps you to design your mold with core and cavity specifications and parting lines and surface creation with associativity to your design. Some specific features for molded parts ensure the manufacturability of the part, taking into account some process-specific constraints such as draft direction, draft angle, shell thickness, and so on. The auto fillet functionality allows you to create in a few clicks all the fillets on a very complex part. This is done in 30 seconds compared to 30 minutes with a manual method. A draft analysis tool is also available to ensure the mold release of the part. Define your environment and parameters according to the material you are using, thickness, default bend radius, K-factor for neutral fiber definition, etc. Unfold your part at any time during the process and work concurrently on the folded and unfolded views. Manage the manufacturing sequence for bend, cut, stamp, flange, etc. Generate characteristic lines for tooling definition. Check materials overlaps and feature distances, such as stamp versus hole, edges, etc. Reuse standard tools that are already available on the shop floor. Manage standards for sheet metal definition using DXF format. Recognize a sheet metal part coming from any CAD system automatically by utilizing feature recognition and continue your design. For sheet metal parts, you can work simultaneously on the folded and unfolded views of the part. You can also generate automatically the bend process operations to get the part and then reorder the different operations for validation. Define the different functions of the elements in your part to create the overall shape. Reserve spaces for electrical or mechanical components, ribs, shell, etc. Use features with embedded behavior supporting manufacturing process requirements, such as define default draft direction and angles, define default shell thickness, and manage draft and thickness analysis. Regardless of the order of creation of the different design features, you always get a geometrical result. Design is more tolerant to errors and you never get stuck, generating as many design alternatives as you want. In some packages, a plastic injection simulation app is available, allowing you to validate the injection flow from the design phase. Here we see the use of functional design technology to create plastic parts. Process-oriented features are used to define the different functions in your part. We see reserve spaces for the different electronic components, shell, internal or external ribs, etc. Using this method, you get a constant thickness and a constant draft angle from the beginning. This example is the enclosure of a small projector. The protected areas for the optical components are displayed in red. No plastic material is allowed in these zones. To create the speaker's housing, we use advanced design features such as the push function, combining in one step several design operations to push faces, create holes, design intersection fillets, etc. Finally, the designer can simulate the injection flow from the design phase to validate the manufacturability of this part. Create shapes that you couldn't even imagine before with additive manufacturing. A specific app is available to analyze and improve your surface quality and generate export files for your 3D printer. As an option, you can recreate a real design based upon any mesh or cloud of points generated by a simulation tool for topological optimization. And the last one is 3D printed parts. You can easily reconstruct your parts. For example, if you get a mesh of points. From there, we have a specific application to export the data to a 3D printer using the STL format. The true value here is that it's part of the platform, so you don't have to export the data. The last point is about the efficient and intuitive user interface. One behavior for all apps, which applies to the compass, top bar, action bar, search, etc. You get one unique user interface for all applications on the platform, with the same user experience and the same elements. The compass to choose your roles and applications, the search field to retrieve your data, the menus for the common functions like save, new, etc., and the action bar with all of the app commands. Mouse miles and mouse clicks were dramatically reduced to be more efficient in your design, not spending too much time going across the screen to get the right functionality on the submenus and so on. It is possible to create design features with direct manipulation in 3D without using any panel. Examples include extrusion, fillets, holes, patterns, etc. But still you get some features created in the specification tree that can be modified later. Everything is done without using an icon or a panel. Another example is the contextual toolbar. Depending on what you selected, you are proposed the compatible actions. So for example, here we can create an extrusion from a sketch and then from two surfaces create a trim. As you can see, we're always in 3D with no need to go to the action bar using icons, panels, and properties, saving 50% of the clicks. The last functionality is the action pad. All your most used functions can be gathered within one panel, popping up anytime right under your cursor. It can be triggered by any key, such as the spacebar. As described at the beginning of the presentation, a role includes all of the applications needed by a user to cover his or her daily activities in a single environment. To have a more precise understanding of the four main roles, you can see here the list of applications included within each role. And again, all of these applications are available with a single and unique user interface on a single source of data. In summary, the Catia for Mid-Market offering provides world-class and unmatched value propositions not available from any other system. We have reviewed here 10 of the top value propositions which cover collaboration and engineering, and which together uniquely position Catia on the 3D Experience platform for our mid-market customers. This offering, which consists of roles and extensions, is intended to provide everything that a typical user would need to do. They are the right products at the right price for our mid-market customers, and we have numerous customer examples to illustrate success with this offering. Thank you for your time to review this presentation.